I've been wanting to read this book, but it has been gone, checked out of the library ever since I discovered it. And so I went to Barnes and Noble today and it was there, and I decided, why not? So I thought I'd do a reading vlog and then kind of share my thoughts with you at the end. I'm only one page in. I promise I'm not going to give notes every other page, but it's like the capstone proposal assignment that it shows, which is, I think, a fun way to start out a book, and also a good way to show that it's like a project that she's working on. Like, fantastic prologue in my opinion. Anyways, so we're gonna read, and then I'm gonna update you as I go, and then I'll give my final review at the end of the video. So I'm about 50 pages in. So far in this book, there's like a lot of cool extra things, if that makes sense. So instead of just words on paper, which, are great, but since this is like a project that the main character is working on for school, there's a lot of like project entries or like a lot of notes she's taking, and that's like almost half of the story that I've read so far has been like these notes that she's taking. Then there's also other things. Don't look too closely if you don't have spoilers, but like a map like that. I flashed it at you so it doesn't spoil anything, although this is really early in the book, so it's not bad. But there's a lot of there's a map like that, there's like some text that you can see her texting, and I always think it's fun when you can see like the actual text bubbles when it's done right. And I think in this book it really is done right. So I'm excited to keep reading, and I'm really liking it so far. I actually think it's really cool. I'm fond of the style of writing. It's like easy to understand, not too simple, not too complicated, and so I really like it so far. I'm really curious as to what's going to happen, so I will not give you any spoilers, I promise, but I'm gonna keep reading. So I thought this book was gonna be more of like a cozy kind of mystery book, like, oh, follow this clue, follow that clue. I didn't expect so much action so soon. We're loving it though. Anyways, I'm gonna get back because I want to know what happens. I'm a little bit farther than halfway through. I only have 2 comments. One is that there's like hints to a romance, and I love it. I'm not gonna say anything more about that in case it turns into spoilers. There's only hints right now, but second of all, this main character, this Pip girl, is literally way braver than I would ever be. So I'm actually crying about this book, which I didn't expect. I'm not mad, but dang. Anyways, I finished the book just barely, and let me tell you, it was really good. I really liked it. Now we have reached the point of the review where we talk about the book itself and then the overall review. So basically, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is about this girl who's doing a senior capstone project. She decides that she wants to do it on a murder that happened 5 years ago because she's certain that the person who murdered the girl back then was falsely accused. Trigger warnings in this book. It talks of suicide and murder, obviously. And then, yeah, just look up the age rating. There's some things in here that could be triggering. But it wasn't for me, so that, don't take my word for it if there's something in here that you might be triggered by. This main character, Pip, goes and looks at all the clues and tries to figure out who did it for real and what happened to her, because her body, the victim's body, was never found, but the person that they thought did it, her boyfriend, was found and allegedly committed suicide after allegedly killing Andy Bell, which is the main girl. So that wasn't the best explanation. You can always read the back, always read a synopsis online, but that's basically what it's about. Now, how many stars would I rate it? I would rate the first half probably 3.5 to 4, and the last half a definite 5, which is interesting because I've never felt that way about a book where the first half is like, meh, and it was just hard for me to focus, but then the second half, I could not put this book down. Like, seriously, I was up super late last night reading it because I couldn't put it down until it was finished. So yeah, but the reason the first half was kind of hard for me was just because usually when I am really into a book, I get like sucked in like automatically or like pretty close to the beginning. And this one I found it very interesting, that the way that they were doing things, and I knew I would like somewhat like it, but I didn't realize it was gonna get as good as it did. Like at the end, oh my goodness. So the list of suspects is fantastic in the book. She kind of like adds them as she goes, and you as the reader can see all of the thought process that she has choosing these people, which is like necessary for a mystery. And I was worried there was gonna be a really predictable ending, but it was not. It was not predictable, but it was also not out of nowhere, which perfect for mystery. So good. And yeah, so it got really like dark and kind of spooky at the end, which I kind of was like totally there for, but it was also like a clean book too, if that makes sense. Definitely still look up the age rating and trigger warnings before you read it, but so good. I will definitely recommend this to my friends. It gave me like a Riverdale vibe, but in a good way, not a bad way. I mean, no offense if you like Riverdale. I was not fond of Riverdale, but the story of it, I was like, yes, I want this story, but I don't want it in this form. And so this was perfect, you know, just like her doing all the mysteries and stuff. There was some hints at romance, which I loved. And yeah, I would definitely recommend this book. It is a little bit slow at first, but it all makes sense. And like, I'm almost tempted to go back and read it again, because I have a feeling you'll know from the start, like you'll be able to see it after, you know, we find out at the end. So yeah, the action was great, didn't expect it, but awesome, and I highly recommend this book. Let me know in the comments if you want a spoiler full version, since this one was spoiler free, and then I'll just talk about the book more in depth and more of my thoughts on it. But if not, I hope you guys enjoy, and I would highly recommend reading this book.